Good morning. Today we are going to look at this sales marketing dashboard. It's a very simple one. The records start from 2022 to 2024, so you can filter by year. You have the revenue for this year compared to the previous year. We have the cost, profit, average conversion rate, and views. Down here, we have the revenue by month. You can see uh, current month compared to the previous month, and also there is an average here. Now we have revenue by lead. Email has the highest lead, 23%. We have revenue by sales channel, in-store and online. Online has the highest revenue. We have revenue by marketing campaign. We have revenue by region, revenue and session by country. On the second page here, we have the product. You can see the product name and the images, the rating, the number of invoices, average price, stock, views, revenue, cost, and profit. Okay, so without wasting too much time, let's open our blank Power BI desktop and then start working with the data. Okay, so let me quickly go to transform data. I've already brought in the first file. Yes, sales data. So when you look at the data here, we have sales ID, customer name, product, sales date, sales amount, cost price, sales channel, and so on and so forth. Okay, so what we are going to do is to split some of these columns into different tables. You can go ahead and use it this way, but I think the best practice is to have some of this separated. Okay, so if this is the first time you are watching my video, remember to subscribe, like, and share. For those of you who have been watching, remember to subscribe if you have not subscribed yet, and also like and share. Okay, so let me duplicate this table. And the first thing we need to do is to separate the customer name. So this is going to be name customer. And what I want to do is to click here, make sure you click here, you right click and remove all other columns. And now you right click again and remove duplicate. Okay, so now you can see that we have few records here. Okay, so what I want to do next is to go to add column and add column starting from 1. Here I'll change the index to customer ID, and then I'll bring it here. Okay, so the next one I want to do is to duplicate again, and then this one is going to be product. So we want to separate the product. We want to put them in a different table. So here, dim product, that's dim for dimension. Okay, you can give it any name you want. So product here, I'll right click just like I did for customer, remove all other columns, remove duplicate. So now we have 15 product, and then I'll go and add new column. This is going to be product ID, then I'll put it here. Okay, so the next one is going to be, let's go here, sales channel. So I'll duplicate again. Let me duplicate 4 more times. Okay, so the first one is going to be sales channel. So dim channel. Okay, so right click sales channel, remove all other columns, remove duplicate, and then you add a new column index starting from 1, change the name to channel ID, Okay, so I'll take it here. Now the next one is, let's check here, country. So country and region, I want to merge them together. So what I'll do is to click the first one, press Control on my keyboard and select the second one. Okay, right click, remove all other columns, and then I'll go here. Instead of right clicking on only country, I'll just go here and then remove duplicate. This will be applied to any column that we have in this table. Okay, so now I'll add this new index. I can double click here to change the name, or I'll go here to change it. So here I'll just say country ID. Okay, then I'll take it here. Let's change the name to dimension table country. Okay, so the next one is sales rep. Sales rep here. So I'll right click, remove all other columns. I'll right click again, remove duplicates, and then add a new column starting from 1. And this is going to be sales rep ID. I'll drag it here. Okay, so this is going to be game sales rep. I'll now go back, duplicate again. I think I need 2 more or 3 more. Let me duplicate again. So I'll go here. Let's go to marketing campaign and lead source. So marketing campaign is the next one. So I'll right click, remove all other columns, right click again, remove duplicates, and then index column starting from 1. And this is going to be marketing campaign ID. I'll bring it here. So dim marketing campaign. Okay, so the next one is going to be our lead source. So I'll right click here, remove all other columns, right click again, remove duplicates, and then add an index column starting from 1. Then here I'll just rename it to lead source ID. Then bring it to the first line. So here, first column. So here, dim lead source. Okay, so any other one that we need to look at? Let me just go here and see. So lead source is done. Customer feedback, customer plan. Okay, so I didn't use these two here. So we can leave it. We can delete it or leave it for now. Okay, so here, this is going to be, I think we can leave it as sales data. That is fine. The fact table. Source. Okay, so now I think we are okay for now. Let's just go. So make sure you select home. But before we go, we need to now, the reason why we created this is to separate some of the columns, put them into new tables, and then create a relationship between this. So what we have to do is to go make sure we select fact sales data. We go to home, and then we go to merge queries. Okay, so I'm now in merge queries. Make sure fact sales data is selected. We go to merge query. So the first thing I need to do is to select customer name, and then I'll go and select the customer table and link it to this. Now, when I do that, look down here. The selection matches 2000 of 2000 rows from the first table. This means that everything is okay. So I'll click OK. Now, look on top here. Click here. We don't want to use original column name as prefix, And also, we want to maintain only the customer ID, which means that later we are going to delete the customer name from this table. Okay, so I'll click OK. So we have the customer ID. This will be linked to this table. Now I'll do the same thing again for product. So let's go to merge. Make sure the fact table is selected. You select product. You select dim product. That's the dimension table. You make sure this is selected and also this is selected here. You can see the selection also matches here. So you click OK. You go here and then you maintain only the product ID. Okay, so the next thing is to merge the channel. So let's go again. We select sales channel. We make sure the dimension channel table is selected. You select the sales channel. You see that it is matches. Let's assume that I didn't select the sales channel. I select channel ID. You can see there's an error here. Okay, so I select sales channel. You make sure there is a match. And then you click OK. And then just like I did for product ID and customer ID, I'll now click here, get in here, and maintain only the channel ID. Okay, so we have the channel ID. The next one is to click merge queries again. We go to country. Now for country and region, they are in one table. So I'm selecting this and this. By selecting this first, let me try again. I'll select country first. Make sure you click Control on your keyboard and then you select region. You can see there is 1 and 2 here. Now let's go to our country table. The country table is selected. So what I'll do is to do the same thing I did earlier. So I'll select country here and then press Control and select region here. So you can see 1 for country, 2 for region, and 2 for region here. Be extra careful here. Let's say, for example, I'm selecting region first, then I press Control and select country first. You see there is 1 here, there is 2 here. And look at the match, 0 of 2000. So you need to be very careful here. So let's start again. I'll select country first and then select region. 1 for country, 1 for country here, 2 for region, 2 for region here. And you can see the match. I'll click OK. So we have that as well. I'll click here, maintain only the country ID. Then I click OK. Good. We need to do one for sales rep as well. So let me go this way. Select sales rep. Select the sales rep table that I created. Then I'll select this and look at the matches. I'll click OK. Very good. And then I'll go here, maintain only the sales rep ID. I'll do the same thing again for the next one, which is the marketing campaign. So let me go to marketing campaign, colon, and then select the marketing campaign dimension table that I created, and then match this to this. You can see the selection matches down here. I'll click OK. And then the only thing I need here is to maintain my marketing campaign ID. Okay, I think the last one is the lead source. Let's go to lead source. Here we are. Lead source is selected. I'll go here, select the table for lead source. And then I select the corresponding column. And then you can see there is a match down here. Then I click OK. Then I go here, maintain only the lead source ID. Very good. So I think we've done everything that is needed here. Now the next thing is to make sure, because we had already added the customer ID, the product ID, and so on and so forth, now we can take out this. So customer name, product. So I press Control and then click. I'll still maintain my Control keyboard. I'll select this here. So you can see if I scroll to the left, you can see these ones are still selected. So 3 of them are selected. I'll select country by still maintaining my Control key, the region, the rep, marketing campaign, and lead source. Now I can press delete on my keyboard, or what I'll do is to right click here and say remove columns. They are taken out. Very good. So now let's make sure we are in home. We go to close and apply. Once you close and apply, now it's going to show us our final tables and the relationships that are created. So let's go and check the relationships created. Let's go here. Do we have everything? Okay. Narrow this down. Okay. So we have channel here. Let me rearrange this a bit. We have customer down here. We have lead source. We have marketing campaign. We have product here. I want to put the fact table in the middle. So let's go and bring in the fact table here. Okay, so this looks okay. Let's click here and see if we have channel ID, link to channel ID here. I'll put the cursor on this country ID, link to country ID. The cursor on this customer ID, link to customer ID. The cursor on this sales rep ID. Let me expand this well. Okay, so this sales rep ID to sales rep ID, product ID to product ID, marketing campaign ID to marketing campaign ID, and then lead source ID to lead source ID. If you don't have yours like this, what you just have to do is to drag and drop it here, okay, on the corresponding column. Okay, so for example, let's say I want to link lead source ID to lead source ID. What I'll do is to just click here, drag it to lead source ID here, and the relationship will be created. Okay, so now let's go to our report view. When I look at this, for example, we need the years on top here. This means that we need to create the calendar table. So let's create the calendar table. There is a measure I usually use to create the calendar table. First, let's go to table view, and then we click new table. So table view, you go to table tools, and then you click new table. Now we need to create our calendar table. So let me bring in the measure. So I'll go here, then I'll paste. So you can see that what is this doing? Is actually creating a new table, going through all dates in our tables. So calendar auto will just go through all dates in our table from minimum to maximum, and then it's going to now generate year from the date, the month number, the weekday. The reason why the month number is there is for us to be able to use it to sort the month name. And then we have the weekday, the week number, the quarter, and the week type. Whichever one you are not using, you can take it out. But for now, let's just leave it as it is. And then once this is pasted, what you have to do is to click commit. Once committed, you see your table created for you. Okay, so you can see starting from 1st January all the way down there. Okay, very good. So we have our table. The next thing to do is to create a relationship between our table and the sales date. So we have the calendar table here. So look at this. We have the sales date here. So what I have to do is to drag the date from the calendar table to the sales date in my fact table. Okay, so here it is one to many, single filter direction, and then I click save. Very good. Okay, so now we can now go here and then start working on our visual. First of all, let's just drag and drop the filter, the year filter. So I'll go to the calendar table, and then I'll select, first of all, let me select a slicer here, and then I'll select the year. And then you can see we have it this way. The next thing I need to do is to format it and make it tile this way. But I usually prefer this visual to the normal slicer, so I'm going to use the new slicer rather. Then I'll take out the title. do it a bit this way, reduce the size, and then I'll put it on top somewhere here. Okay, very good. So we are going to format it later. So this is what we had in the previous screen. Okay, so now I need to create the revenue. I need to add this visual, create the revenue, measure the cost, the profit, the average conversion rate, and the views. Okay, so for that one, what we need to do is to create a measure table. So usually I create a measure table. So let's click here, make sure you are in home. You go to enter data and you create, you give it a name. So I'll just name mine all measures. So the table is being created for us. Okay, so we have the all measures here. So the first thing I need to create is the revenue. So the revenue measure, so revenue will be equal to sum sales amount in the FAT table. So we have amount. Let me just type amount. Okay, so sales amount in the fact table. Okay, so that's for the revenue. And then the next one is cost. So I'll go again, new measure. And then for cost, we have the cost column also in the fact table. So it's going to be cost, price, so cost price here. The next one is going to be profit. So the profit is going to be the revenue minus the cost. So profit will be equal to the revenue minus the cost measure I just created. So we have that here. Then I press enter. The next one is to create the views. How many views? So let me create views will be equal to the sum views from the fact table. Okay. The next one is going to be the average conversion rate. So new measure, average conversion rate. That will be average, and then this is going to be the conversion rate. Okay, so we have that as well. Let me check if that's all. Yeah, I think that's all. So let's quickly start adding our visual for that. Now before I proceed, I need to bring in my background. So my background picture, let's go to format, make sure this is highlighted, this is selected, the background is selected. You go to canvas background, you browse for the picture. I will make the picture also available. So we go for sales marketing. Now it's not showing because the transparency is 100%. So let's bring it down here to 0, and then I'll make this fit. Very good. So now I can reduce this to be on top here. Let me quickly do some formatting. I'll take out the background, so I'll turn it off. I'll go to buttons, no border, no fill as well. Okay, so accent bar, I want the accent bar to be down. Okay, and when it is default, because currently it is in default state. So when it is default, I want the accent bar to be 1. I want to change the color to something like this. So I'll use this color. Okay, and then when it is selected, so I'll go to the top, click selected. When it is selected, then the accent bar should still be the same, but the width should be maybe something like 4. Okay, so let me select 2023. You can see the accent bar is now bigger. So let's make it 5. Now the label is not showing because the color is white. So let's go to our callout values. we make sure we go to selected, and then you can see the color is white. So we change the color to something like this. And then we make sure in the default state, everything is centered. Very good. Now, when it is selected, this should be bold. Okay, so this is okay now. Very good. Now, let's bring in our new card. You see our new card here. First of all, we bring in the revenue. We bring in the cost. We bring in the profit, the average conversion rate, and views. Now, by default, you have 3 cards that can be shown at a time. You have to scroll down before you can see the others. So now what we do is we make sure this is selected. You go to layout, and then you say the maximum card to be shown should be 5. Okay, very good. So we have that here. Now the call out value is still bigger. So what we need to do is to go to call out values, change this one to 25. Okay, so we can reduce it now. Few more formatting. I'll go here, take out the background, so I'll turn it off. I'll go to cards, no border, no background as well. I want accent bar, and then the accent bar should not be that bright, so I'll make it 10% darker. Very good. The width should be 1. And also, because I already have this background down there, this shape down there, what I'll do is I don't need this accent bar for the revenue. So I'll make sure the visual is selected. I'll go to revenue in cards, then I'll turn off the accent bar for only revenue. So you can see the accent bar is not showing here, but it's showing for all the rest. Okay, so now what we need to do is to add the growth that is compared to the previous year. So currently 2023 is selected. So when you compare to 2022, we should have the growth here. And now we are going to create measures for that. But before that, let me select revenue and make sure it is currency. And then I want this to be 0. I'll do the same thing for cost. Also, it should be currency. And the decimal place should be 0. You can decide to make it 1 or 2, but I want this to be 0. And then here also, I select profit. It should be currency. And then this should be 0. I'll select average conversion rate as well. This should be 0. I'll select views. I think views, yeah, we are okay with views. That's okay. Okay, very good. So now we need to calculate. For us to be able to get this, let's get this. Let me explain this a bit. For us to be able to get this, we need to first calculate the previous year of the revenue, calculate the variance, use the variance to calculate the growth, and also maybe we create another measure just to put the growth and the arrow bars together. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, let's take the example of revenue. When you take the example of revenue, we are going to calculate the previous year revenue. So revenue previous year will be equal to, we use the calculate function, and then what we do is to bring in the revenue that we have created, which is the current revenue. And then what we do is to say previous year, we use the previous year function and pass the calendar date to it. So calendar date. So this is going to calculate the previous year revenue for us. Okay. So after that, let me just make it $sign just to be sure. And then this is going to be 0. Okay. So the next thing to do is to calculate the variance. So the variance is going to be So here I'll just say revenue variance will be equal to current year revenue minus previous year revenue. Okay. And then what we have to do next is to calculate the growth. We use the variance to calculate the growth. So I'll just go here, new measure again. And here I'll say revenue growth percentage. So revenue growth is going to be divide. So we are dividing the revenue variance. So it's going to normally somebody will just come here and write current year revenue minus previous year revenue divided by previous year revenue. But already we have current year minus previous year, which is the revenue variance. So we'll just say revenue variance division revenue previous year. Okay, so we can close it here. Now, the advantage of this divide function is that should in case you are not getting any, you are getting null or anything, so give me 0. Okay. Now, using this, we are going to calculate, already we have the growth here. So now let's create a new measure that will put in the growth and some arrow for us. Okay, so let's go straight to, just a minute. Okay, so now let's go here, new measure. And then I'll just write revenue growth arrow. That's revenue growth with arrow. So the first thing I need to do is to check if revenue is blank. So if revenue is blank, give us blank. Okay. If it is not, then I'll check the revenue variance. If it is greater or equal to 0. So if it is greater than 0, so and then I'll just bring in the revenue growth percentage. So if it is greater than 0, I bring in the revenue growth percentage, revenue growth. And what I have to do, you know, the revenue growth that we created earlier is not in percentage. What you have to do is to multiply by 100 here, and I want to add the percentage sign, and then I will add the arrow. So for the arrow, you can press window dot. Let's go and get some arrow here. So in this case, it is up, so we can use this arrow. Okay. And then if it is not greater, then what we do is we copy the same thing and put it here. But in this case, the arrow goes down. So window dot gives you the arrow down here. You can close this, and then we close this here. That's for the first if. Then we close the second one. So here we have, if the revenue variance is greater than 0, we bring in the revenue growth times 100. Now we need to round it off, but let's first check this. So I'll just drop the revenue growth with arrow somewhere here. You can see, so it's giving us 4.75, this long stuff, so we need to round it. So let's go back here, and that's where I'll use the round function. Okay, and then I'm rounding everything here by 1. Okay, and the same thing will be applied to this also, round all the way here. Very good. So let me press enter. Let's see what we get. Very good. So 4.8. Now, if it is positive, I want to append positive plus sign. So here, I'll add the plus sign here with the ampersand. Okay, so I'm appending the plus sign to this. So let me press enter. Let's look at what we get. So you can see plus 4.8. Very good. Now, let's go here. I can take out this now. I don't need it again. Okay, so what we need to do is now to bring it here. Now, let me select this visual. Let's look at how I'm going to do this. I'll select the visual. I'll go to reference labels. Okay, and then here revenue is already selected. What I need to do is to bring in maybe the revenue growth or the revenue variance, anything, all this. So I'm bringing this also. So you can see the plus 4.8. Let's do a bit of formatting. So I'll select the label here. I'll go to title. I don't want this title. So what I want to do is to go to custom. And then in custom, I have the text here. I can select all and type maybe versus previous year. Okay. Or I just put the space there. If you don't put space, look at what happened. So you need to put space there so that you can take out the text. So now we have this. Now when you come here, you can change the color. So let's create the color measure. So let's go here, new measure. And what I want to do is to check. So let's say revenue color. Okay. Then say if revenue variance, okay, is greater or equal to 0, give me green, else give me red. Then I close this. Very simple. Okay, so what I need to do next is to try this here. So let's look at what is going to happen. So in the color here, this should be in value rather. Sorry, so in the color here, you can see that if I go here, I can select that color. So I'll go to color, select revenue color, and I click OK. Look at that, the color has changed. Very good. But here, unfortunately, the background is not here. So what I want to do is to rather disable the value here, turn it off, okay? Then I'll turn on the detail, go inside, bring in the revenue growth arrow here, okay, just like I did for value. Then once it is brought in, you go to font color, you apply the color here, you click OK, and then the good thing here is that we have the background. So we go here, use the same thing for the background. Very good. And then the only thing we need to do here is to make this 95. Very good. Okay, so you can see what I have done here. The reason why I brought it to detail is because I'm not getting the background color here. Okay, now what we need to do, let's go here, select all first, and then I'll go down to layout. I want this to be on the right. Okay, another thing is to take out the background, so we are disabling it. Then we take out the divider as well, so that we can have some space. You can decide to leave it as it is. So let me do it this way. And what I need to do is to push it up a little bit. So we have this now. So you can see we have our this is compared to the previous year. So we have our growth here. So we are going to do, we'll create the same measures for cost, same measures for profit, average conversion rate, and views. So I'm going to create that, and then we can continue. So I'll pause the video, create that, then we continue, we proceed from there. Okay, so the other measures have been created just like I've done for revenue and the growth. So if you look here, for example, for conversion rate, you can see the color here, the growth with the arrow. We have the previous year, we have the variance. The same thing applies to cost, color, growth arrow. We have the cost previous year, the cost variance. I did same for profit as well. Profit color, growth arrow, previous year, variance. So now let's quickly go back to our visual. So make sure this is selected, and then you go to the format. We go to reference label. You make sure cost is selected this time. So what we need to do is to bring in our cost previous year. We don't really need it, but you can leave the previous year there if you want. So I'll select the label. I'll go here. I don't want the title, so I'll go here, select custom. Then it will give me the text. I'll just remove it. If you remove it and you don't put anything there, it will still maintain it. So put a space there, and that is gone. Okay, now I don't want to keep the value. You can decide to keep it to show your user the previous year value. So I'll go to detail here, enable the detail, make sure you enable it. You go to cost. So I'll bring in the growth arrow here, so you can see the previous year plus the arrow. Now I don't want to keep that, so I'll go here. Now what I need to do next is to bring in the formatting. So field value, this time is going to be cost color. So you can see that the font has changed to red, and then I'll go to the background as well. Field value, the cost color. Then you can see this. So let's change this one to 95. Then you see. Now this is plus and it's showing red because it is cost. So what I did was that if it is cost and it has gone up, then it should give me a red sign. It means that our cost is really going up. We need to check why it is going up. Okay, so that is why I made it red. So now the next is profit. So I'll go to profit. So for profit, you can put previous year here. Select the label. Make sure the label is selected. If it's not, this is disabled. So I'll click custom just because I don't want to see anything here. Or instead of that, you can hide it. You can hide the title. You go to value, to detail here. You add the profit growth arrow. Okay, we can take out the value as well, and then we did the same. We will do the same formatting that we did for the others. So color, this is profit. If it is plus, then it gives us green. And then I want to change the background also. Field value, color, profit color. Then I click OK. So you can see now we want the transparency to be 95. Okay, so you can make it 90, you can make it 80, depending on how you see it. Okay, so now the next one is conversion rate. So I'll go up again, reference label, apply settings to average conversion rate. So average conversion rate, give me the previous year. I don't want the title. I don't want the value. I want only to use the detail. So here I can bring in the average conversion rate growth arrow. You see, when I drop it, this can happen to any of you. So when I drop it here, you see nothing is happening, even though the detail is enabled. So what you do is make sure in the select label here, that is selected. Once selected, then you can come here and then you can drop it. Okay, so let's quickly do the formatting, conditional formatting. I'll type color, average conversion rate color. Okay, so it's showing red here. I want to change the background also to have the formatting. So color here as well, average conversion rate color. I'll click OK, and then I'll change the transparency to 95. Okay, very good. Now the last one is for views. So let's go to views. How many views did we get in 2023? So I'll go to views. In views, okay, so I have not added any of the measures to views. Okay, so I will pause, add the measures just like I did for this, then we can continue. Okay, so I've added the necessary views, measures for views. So I'll select this measure, that's the new card measure. I'll now select views. So for views, I'll put in the previous year here. I'll make sure I select the label. I don't really need the title here. I don't need the value. I'll go to detail, and then I'll drop the views growth arrow here. I'll go to font color. I'll go and select the measure that I created for color for views. So views color. Then I click OK. So you can see the color has changed here. I'll now go to the background as well. Sorry, I deleted this. I'll go back and do the same thing. So views color. I'll click OK. Then I'll come to the background as well. Views color. Then after that, I'll click OK. Then I'll set this to 95. Very good. Okay. I need to do a bit of formatting here. Let's try this and see. I'll go to call out values or go to layout. Just trying to see if okay, so let's go to reference label, select all. The spacing, I'll reduce this to maybe 2. Okay, so this looks better. We have some space here. So I can select it now and push it a bit up. Okay, so I think we are done with this. Now let's add our icon. So make sure it is selected again. I'll go to images. I'll leave it as all for now. Then go here, go to images and icons. So here for revenue, we need this. So I've seen it here. Now I want to send it to left of the text. I'll reduce the size to 30. Okay, very good. Now I can now select each one of them individually. So I'll go to cost. The only thing I need to now change is just the cost icon. So cost, we'll take this one. Profit, I'll remove it, browse it again. So I'll go for profit icon. So this is profit. Okay, so average conversion rate. I'll go here, browse again. So for conversion rate, and then the last one is views. Okay, very good. So this is what we have for the KPIs. Now the next one is to do our to build our revenue by month, which we have here, and also making sure that we have the average line here. Okay, so quick one. I'll go here, bring in the line chart. I'll select revenue. I'll select month. Now when you look at the month, you see it's starting from April. So I want to format the month. So I'll select month. I'll make sure it is selected. I'll go to column tools, go to sort by, then I'll select month number. Now sometimes it's not reflected. So what I usually do is to untick it and tick it again. Then you can see it started from January all the way to December. Okay, very good. So here we have revenue by month. Okay, and then we want to compare it to the previous month. So previous month. So we have revenue previous year here. So we need to create a new measure for previous month. So I'll just copy and paste this and change the previous year function to previous month. Okay, so we have this here. So previous year is going to be previous month. Okay. Sorry, it exists already, so it's supposed to be previous month on top here. So we have previous month. So what I'll do is to bring in my previous month. Okay, so we can see that here. Let's do a bit of formatting. So the title is going to be revenue by month, or revenue versus revenue previous month by year, by month. Okay, and then down here, the x-axis, we remove the title. For y-axis, we remove the title also. And then for the lines, for the grid lines, I don't need them. For legend, I'll remove the title, and then I'll position the legend to be bottom center. Okay, and then for the lines, I want them to be smooth. You can make it step if you want, but I want to make mine smooth. Okay, now for the color of the lines, first let me select revenue. I want to use this color here for revenue. I'll go down and select this color. Good. And then for revenue previous month, so I'll select revenue previous month. The width, I want it to be 1. And then I'll change the color to this color. Okay, so this is it. Now let's add the average line. So how do we add the average line? I'll go down here, error bars, sorry, not error bars, reference line. I'll add a line. Okay, so what is the type of the line I'm adding? I'll select average line. You can see it showing here. And now for the average line, I want to show the data label. So you can see it's showing here. I want to format that data label to not have a decimal and also just be in thousands. Okay, so this is it. Now that average line, I'll change the color to something like this, 10% darker. No, sorry, this is being applied to rather the label, not the label, the line. So I want it to be 10% darker, something like this. Or you can maintain the blue for it. You can maintain the blue and then just make the transparency a bit, maybe 71. And then the width, you reduce it to 1. It depends on how you want to format it. But that's basically how to add the average line. Okay, so let me disable the background for this. Okay, so this is done. Let's move to the next one. And the next one is the revenue by lead. Okay, so I will also show how this is done. I think I've done this in one of my videos. I'll show how this is done. The simpler one first, and if you want to do it this way, you can also do it this way. But first of all, let's do the normal one first. So I'll bring in the clustered bar chart, leave it at the top here, and then I'll select revenue, and then it's going to be by lead. Okay, so you can see it here. Now let's format it. For size, I'll turn off the background. For x-axis, I don't need a title here. For y-axis, for x-axis, I don't need a title also down here, so I'll take out the title. Okay, I also don't need the value down there, something like this, and then I can use the data labels to show. I'll give the data labels some background. You see, so, and I want the data label to be outside in. You see, something like this. You can leave yours as it is, like this. And also, if you don't want to show this, what you can do is to go to revenue, right click here, and show value as percentage of grand total. Okay, so you can see everything here. Okay, now with this, it is kind of similar to what we have here for someone who wants to make it simpler. But I want to go a step further to show how this was created. Okay, so let's do that. I can bring that the value to this. Let me copy and paste this down here. Okay, so now for us to be able to do that, the first thing we need to do is to create two measures. One measure that will hold the value on top here instead of here, and another measure that will give us the 100% bar. Okay, so let me go here. The first thing I need to create is the first one, so I will just call it base 0. So base 0, and then sorry, this is just 0, and then I can drag it. Let me click here, and then I'll drag it on top here. That's number one. You can see it's showing on top here. Number two, I'll create another measure and call it maybe base 100 or whole number. Let's say whole number. It's going to be 1, but I'll make it percentage, which will be 100%. So that whole number will be in percentage. So that will be 100%. And then what I'll do is to bring it down here. So, and then the next thing is to remove, I want to bring in the percentage of total. So I'll remove this and bring in the percentage of total. So I'll create a measure for percentage of total. So it's going to be revenue percentage of total. So just revenue percentage of lead. Then what I'll do is to just do revenue division calculate revenue, and then all selected. Then I'll bring in the lead source. Okay, so this is going to give me the percentage of total for each one of them. Okay, so I'll replace this by the percentage of total. So this is it. Very good. So now we have everything in percentage. The one I just did now is giving us this. Okay, and then the whole number is what we have, which is 100% everywhere. Okay, so what I want to do, let me make the percentage of total percentage here. and then I don't want any decimal numbers. So we can have, okay, so, and then also you can see 90%, 23%. So let's quickly sort it by the revenue percentage of lead. Okay, so we have this here. Now, time for us to do a bit of formatting. So let's go and do formatting. So I'll go here, go to first bars. Already, I don't need a legend. Sorry, let's take out the legend quickly. So I'll go to bars. The first one is base 0. I'll give it the color that I use. Okay. And then the second one is revenue percentage of lead. That one we make it white. It's gone. Okay. And then the next one is the whole number. So for the whole number, we maintain this color. Okay. So I'll go down to data labels. In data labels, we want to keep the base 0 percentage data label, but for revenue percentage of lead, we disable that. So this is gone. And we want to make sure that is shown here. We want to make sure it is shown here. So what I will do is to go down, sorry, I'll select the whole number. So the whole number is showing 100% everywhere here. It's showing 100% everywhere here. So I'll select the whole number. I'll go to value, and then instead of whole, I'm bringing in the revenue percentage of lead. So this will show us the number. Sorry, I need to do a bit of formatting again so that we can see everything. Another thing I need to quickly change so I can get my space back is revenue by lead. Okay, so that's number one. And then I'll go to the error bars. So we need to use the error bars. So here I'll select whole. I'll bring in the revenue percentage of lead. I think it should be lower bar. Just a minute. So this is going to be at the lower bar level. And then make sure this is enabled. Okay, so you can see it here. And then the next thing we need to do is to increase the width. You see, we change the color to something like this, 10% darker. Okay, no border size, or I can maintain the border size and give it this also. For marker, we don't really need the marker. Okay, so this is okay. We can see some blue lines here. So I think that can be done from the bar side. From the bar side, you select all. You come down to layout, space between categories. You see that I've reduced it and it has covered up the blue lines. Okay, so we need to take out this from here. So let's go to base 0 in data labels. Okay, so sorry, there's something that we missed out here. For the base 0, it's supposed to have the value of this. So I'll go and select base 0. Once base 0 is selected, I'll go to format, select dynamic. In dynamic, I'll put in selected value. Lead source, okay. and then press enter, then you will see that the 0 will be replaced by the value. So email here. So we can now take out this from this side. So I'll go here to the y-axis and take out the value of y-axis. So this is gone. Okay, so now we don't want this background for this. That was done in the data labels. So I'll go to data labels. I'll make sure B0 is selected. Then I'll now turn off the background. So you can see that we have something nice here. I'll go back to the whole number. And then in the whole number, what I'll do is, for the background, I want it to be the color we use. And then it's going to be 90% transparent. And we can make it bold. Very good. So this is what I have for you. Now, for the email, I want to add the number of lead. So we'll add the number, and then here we'll add the revenue, and then you can see the percentage here. So we'll go back to B0 because B0 has this value. So we'll go back to B0. We'll go to the dynamic. It's already dynamic. So you look here. It has measure, and then it has the format. In the formatting, we have this. So what I want to do is to append it with the revenue. Let's see what it brings us. So you can see the revenue everywhere here. Now let's format it better. So space, this, space, and this. So you can see that we have the line separating it with some space, and you see each amount. Okay, very good. You can format the amount also. Now, this is done. The next one is to create this simple one. So that's revenue by sales channel. So I'll go and select this visual, the donut visual. I'll bring it here, and then I'll select revenue. Once revenue is selected, I'll make sure we have the channel also selected here. So sales channel, so you can see it here. So let's change the color and format it a bit. So first of all, I don't need the legend. The slices color should be this, and then in store should be this. Okay, and then we want the inner radius to be different, to be reduced, maybe. Okay, so 80%. And because I've taken out the legend, what I want to do is to go to details label and make sure all detail labels are showing. Okay, so this is it. Nicely done here. Okay, now the next one we need to do. So the next one is revenue by marketing campaign. So I'll go here, select this, and then I'll select revenue. Then we go to marketing campaign. I'll select the marketing campaign. So let's format this. I can select this revenue by sales channel. See if it will format it for me. Okay, so it's not formatted. So let's format it quickly. So like we go here, we take out the title, x-axis, no title, no background. It should be turned off. We don't need the values down here for the x-axis, so we take it out because we are going to use the data labels. So for the data labels, we can change the position to outside, and we'll give it a background. The background should be our color, the usual color. Okay, now you can see that these things are not showing well here. So what we do is to go back here to y-axis, maximum width, we increase it to maybe 40%. Let me see, 41%. Let me take it all the way to the end. Okay, so we can see that here. Okay, so this is done. I'll reduce the size of the bar by going to bars, going to layout, space between categories, maybe something like 40%. Is that okay? So we make it maybe 50%, depending on how you want it to be. Okay, so now for this, because we don't have enough space, something is hidden here. So maybe what I can do is I'll just maintain, take out the data labels, then x-axis, I'll say show me the values so that we can have this here. Okay, that's good. Now we move to the next one. The next one is the revenue by region. And here I created something that looks like lollipop. So let's see how this was done. So I'll go back here. What I need to do is to copy this and paste it here. And it's going to be revenue by region. So revenue is already selected. I'll take out the marketing campaign. I'll go to country and select region. Okay, so we have the regions here. In Europe, we've generated more revenue in 2023 than any other region. So now let's go straight and create. Now I can see some lines here. Let me go to grid lines and disable that. That's fine. This also, we take it out. Now we are going to create our lollipop. For those of you who want to continue from here, this one is a simpler one. That's okay. You can continue by leaving it this way. But I wanted to add some lollipop to show how this is done. So if you are interested, you can watch this. So let's go and we'll go to our arrow bars. That's what we are going to use for our lollipop. So revenue is selected. What I need to do here is to bring in the revenue to the upper bound. So I'll go and bring in revenue again. Make sure this is enabled. You can see some small dot somewhere here. Then what we do is to go to the markers. We select this and then we increase the size to be 10. Now I'm going to reduce the size of the bars here. So I'll go to bars, I'll go to layout, space between categories, maybe 75. You can see. So now I can go back to my arrow bars, go to the markers, change the color of the markers. Where do I change the color? So here, I'll go here and change it to this color. Okay, and then maybe I don't need the border size. Okay, because with the border size you can see some small space somewhere here because it's white. You can leave it and change the color to the same color, but let's take it out. So we have this here. So our lollipop has been created. Then let's go here and add the error labels. So you see, but the error labels are not well shown. So we are going to look at that as well. Now I want to reduce the size of the bar further. So what do? I'll create two more measures, blank measures. So I'll just go here and say blank 1 and make it blank. I'll create another one also. That will be blank 2 and make it blank. So here, what I'll do is I'll select and make sure the visual is selected. You click here, and then on top you put blank 1, and then down you put blank 2. You see, now let's work on, let's change the title quickly. So I'll go to the title. Revenue by region. Okay. Maybe the bar, I can change the bar to something like, let's go to more color, make it a bit lighter. Okay, something like this. Now let's work on this so that it is well shown. Okay, so let me first of all, I'll create a maximum, a measure that will give me the maximum, and then I will increase it a bit. So this is what I want to do. When you select the visual and you go to x-axis, for example, there is this maximum here. So I want to give it a maximum value. So I'll get a measure that will give me the maximum value of all regions, irrespective of the year selected, and then I will increase it by a certain number so that that will always be my maximum value. So let me create a table quickly. Let me drop a table here. Then I'll do the same thing. So I'll select the revenue. I'll first of all select the region. Then I'll select the revenue. Okay. And then we want to create a measure that will always give us the maximum value. So let me go here and create a new measure. So this is going to be max revenue. So all selected. Game country region. So we are using the region. Okay. And then here we bring in the revenue. So you can see this gives us the maximum revenue. So let's drop it onto the table. So maximum revenue. So in this, you can see that the maximum one, first of all, let me sort it in descending order. So the maximum one is 167. So you can see 167 throughout. That's the maximum. Very good. So now I want to multiply the maximum by maybe 1.4 or 5. And that will be the maximum I'll use for my x. Okay, so now we don't need a table again. So I can come here, select the visual, you go to x-axis, maximum, you click on the conditional formatting button, and then you go to your maximum value we just created, then we click OK, so you can see it has given us enough space for us to see the value here. Okay, so if you don't want this, you can continue with the previous one we did, just like this one, then just to save your time. Okay, the next one is to create this table here that has the revenue and session by country, and also has the spark line and this. I've done this in one of my videos, but I'll repeat it again here. So let's go, we bring in our table. And what does our table have? When you look at this, we have the country flag, the country name, the session, the revenue. So country flag, where do we get our flag? When I go to country, for example, there's nothing like flag. So let's go back. There's a table for the flag. Let's go transform, go to transform data. And then we bring in a new file. Okay, so I'll go to data. In data, I have the country flag here. So let me take the country flag. I'll click OK. Okay, so the country flag is here. Now you can see that the name of the columns are rather here instead of column 1 and column 2. So let's promote that to be our headers. So we can see country and flag here. The next thing we want to do is we just want to merge it with the country table. So I'll select dim country. So the only thing I want to do is just to bring in the flag here. So dim country, And then I'll go to merge queries. In merge queries, I'll select the country. I'll go to country flag. I'll select country here as well. Then I'll click OK. So you can see the selection matches 32 of 32 rows. So I'll click OK. So I have the country flag table here. So I need to only maintain the flag. So in this case, we have the flag added to the country and region table. So let's go back, close and apply. When we close and apply, there is something I need to quickly change here. By default, there will be a relationship between the country flag and the country table. So when you click here, you see, but we don't really need this relationship. So I can delete it because I've already merged it. So I can delete this. So now we go here to the report visual. So the first thing we need to do is to go to country. We select the flag. And then you can see, oh, sorry, I didn't select the visual. So let me delete this one quickly and then start all over by selecting this visual I dropped earlier. So I'll select flag and look at what is happening. It's bringing all this. If you are not careful, you will be like, what is going on? So you select the flag itself, you go to data category, and then you select image URL. Okay, so this is going to give us the correct images. Look at that. And then we bring in the country. Okay, we want to bring in the sessions. Okay, so we don't have the session created yet. So what I need to do is to create a new measure quickly. And then that will give us the entire sum of sessions. So here, sessions will be equal to sum and then session. So what we need to do is to add the session to this table. So I'll select this and then add session to it. And then also I added the revenue. Very good. So let's reduce the size of the rows. So by going to image size, we maintain 25, maybe 22 for the height. And then maybe for the width, we maintain 40, something like that. For the total, it is not needed. So let's take it out. And then for values, the alternate background, I want it to be white. And I don't need the grid, horizontal grid line here. So this is fine. Now I want to bring in before bringing in my sparkline from Kerry Kolosko. I love her website a lot. Before bringing that one, let's format the revenue to be in case in thousands. So I'll go to revenue and then I'll go here and say I want it to be in thousands. Okay, so and then for the grid, I forgot to change the color of this grid, the border here. So I want it to be something like maybe white, maybe hidden. So we want the highest sessions first, so we can see here. And then let's add the bar. So I'll go to sessions. I'll go to conditional formatting, data bars. For the bars, I want the color to be, let's say, color to be something like this. That's for session. So you can see something here. For revenue, I'll right click again. I'll go to conditional formatting. I'll go to data bars. When I get to bars, also, remember the color I used earlier. I'll go here just to select the color. Sorry, go to more color and then select something from the top here. And then we click OK, just to have that also for revenue. Now for the sparkline, you will realize that I picked something nice from Kerry Kolosko website. If you don't want to go that route, what you do is to right click on revenue and use add a conditional formatting, add a spark line, sorry. So for spark line, you select the month number which is in the calendar, that's for the axis, and then you click create. So you see, so this has already given you some spark line. Let me change the name, put a space there. Okay, and then you can just drag it here to increase it a bit, then you are okay. Now that is for those who want to make it a bit simpler for themselves, but I prefer to use Kerry Kolosko Sparkline. I'm on her website now, Kerry Kolosko. You go to SVG templates. Okay, so you can see there's quite a number of them here. So I'll use something like this. Okay, so the area spark line, that's what I want to use. So you can see the code here. What you need to do is to copy. When you click here, it is already copied. I have done this before in some of my tutorials. You can go and check as well. So you can see now this, I'll select the visual. And what I'll do is, sorry, first I need to create a measure that I copied. So I'll click new measure. Once new measure is ready for me to create, so I'll just paste what I got from Kerry Kolosko website on the sparkline. So area sparkline here. So what I'll do is to just change this one to revenue sparkline. Okay, now you can see some things are highlighted here because we don't have these tables, and that is correct. So what I'll do is to replace this with my calendar. So Control Shift L for love, L for life. So now I'll start typing. This is going to select all of them. So I'll just start typing calendar. But this time we are not going to use date. We are going to show the monthly trend. So I'll select month number. Okay. Now down here, so we have this already done. Down here, the sum gross sales, Control Shift L, and then I'll type revenue because I'm working on revenue. Now what I need to do here, I need to change this one from financials to calendar. Okay, so are we good? Now here, I don't need this line. We can take it out. If you take the top out, make sure, because it is an if condition, so there's an if condition. So you take this out, and then you take this also out, the else part. Then I press enter. Okay, so that has been created. Now let's add it to this. But before we add, let me quickly add it first. When you add, because it's not formatted, look at what we are getting. So I'll select revenue spark line, and then make sure I go to data category on top there, and then select image URL. You see, so this is done. So for those of you who want to make it simpler for yourself and keep it, that is fine. I've shown you how to do this from Power BI, and I've also shown you how to copy this from Kerry Kolosko website. I mean, she has done so well helping us with this SVG stuff. Okay, so what I want to do now is to remove the previous one. So I'll take this out, and then I want to keep the second one. Select, and then put space there. So I have this now, which is okay. So now what I want to do is to go to the image size, change this to maybe 70. Okay, so this makes it a bit bigger. I can reduce this one. For this, I'll change the flag to country rather, and then I'll remove country from here. Put a space there. Okay, now I can reduce this here. I'll disable the background. Now let's bring in our shape map. So I'll go to shape map here. I'll select this visual shape map. It is in the corner here. Okay. So what I'll do is to bring in the revenue. For shape map, revenue will be there. And then I'll select country. For country, I want to format it quickly. So I'll go to data category. Then I'll make it country. Be extra careful here. There's something called county here, and there's country here. Make sure country is selected. And also, the shape map is given us by default the US map. So I want to change this to custom map. I'll go to browse. I have this map already somewhere here. I'll select it and click open. So it gives me that. Then I'll select country here. So you are going to get the revenue by country. So let's format our map. For our map, we don't need the title here because we are bringing it together with the table. And let me go to the zoom in. Auto zoom will be enabled. Zoom on selection will also be enabled. Okay, let's go to fill color. For the maximum color, I'm going to use our usual color. So I'll go here. This is it. And for blank areas, you can hide it. You can enable it, but I enabled it and I made it white. For the border, I made the color this color. Okay, so I think we are done with the formatting. Background should be disabled. Okay, so let's go and do some selection and see. Yeah, another thing that I did. Yeah, we are not done with the formatting. I used the orthographic. Very good. So now look at this. When I select a country, look at that. Look at that. Zooming in. Okay. So when you put your cursor here, you have the revenue. But I also want to show the session. Okay, so how do I do that? So what I'll do is to just add the session. So I'll select the map, visual. I'll click here, and then I will add the session to the tooltip. So let's go to session and add it to the tooltip. Okay, so when I put my cursor here, I not only get the revenue, but I also get the sessions. Okay, very good. I can now, the session I want it to have this comma well formatted. So when I put the cursor again, I can see the session. Yeah. Okay, so I think we are done with this screen here. Let me put this test box. Sales marketing dashboard. Select all. I'll make it 20. Bold. So this, the color will be this. This should not be bold. I didn't make it bold. I'll take it to the top here. Then I can take out the background. Very good. So it looks like we are done here. Let me go and check what we have. Check what we have here. So the only thing missing there in what we've just done is the second page, which we are going to create, and also the title for the session by country. So session and revenue by country. So I can bring this down here, and then I'll create a new text box. Revenue and session by country. So this is going to be 12, and then I can, let's bring it down here. Background, is it bold? Okay, so this is okay. So now this will be our overview page. The next one is going to be our product details. So let's look at our product detail here. What do we have? So product details, very good. So it has the ID, the product name, the image, the rating, and all this. So let's quickly do that. So let's go back here. There is already a background I created for this. It's a simpler one. So let's go to background. I'll go and select product details, background. It's not showing until transparency is set to 0, normal, fit. Very good. So now I want to bring in my table. So I have my table down here. Okay, number one, I bring in the product ID. So let's go to the product table, product ID, product name. But where is my product image? So there is another table that has the product image. Let's go to transform data again. In transform data, I'll go to new source, then go and bring in the CSV file. I'll go to data. We have product stock table. I'll click open. Okay, so we can see the product name, the stock, and the image. I'll click OK. And then just like what I did for the other one, for product here, what I did for country, I'm going to do the same thing for product. So I'll go to merge queries. I'll select product. I'll go and bring in the new table I just brought in. So product stock table, I'll select product again. So you can see 15 of 15 rows. Everything looks okay. Now here, I'll go to this side and take out product name, maintain the stock quantity and the image. That way, we have brought in whatever we have here into this. Okay, so I can close and apply. Let's wait for it to apply the changes. Then I'll go back to the, let's wait for it to finish. I'll go back to the model view. Now in the model view, just like I disable the relationship for country, I'll do the same thing for this as well. It's not needed because we've already merged it. So I'll select this and click delete. It will ask me, then I'll say yes. Okay, so let's go back here. Now for our image, we can see, where is it? In our country table, we have image here. So we make sure it is image URL. So I'll drop it onto this table. Sorry, the visual is not selected yet. That is why it's added a new visual. So let's make sure this visual is selected. I'll add image. I'll add the stock quantity. What else do we have in there? The number of invoices, the score. Okay, so let's calculate the score. So that's going to be average score. So average score, average score, average average rating, customer rating. Yes, average customer rating. So that's it. And also we calculate the number of invoices by just counting the number of rows in the sales table. So number of invoices or number of sales will be equal to the count rows. So we are counting the sales table. Count rows, sales data. No, sorry. I'm in the wrong. I'm actually using the old one. Oh no. Okay. So I need to cancel this. So here I'll add a new measure for average for the rating. For average customer rating, and also I'm going to create the number of, so average customer rating is already there. Okay, that's fine. So let's calculate number of invoices, and this is going to be count rows. Our, is it bringing me here? Okay, so close this. Do we have average? No, it's not here. Okay, new measure. Average rating will be equal to average customer rating. So I'll right click again, create another measure. And this is going to be, let's say, invoices will be count rows. The sales data table. Okay. So here we have the number of invoices. So I'm now going to make sure this table is selected. This visual is selected. Then I'll drop the invoices. I'll drop the average rating. Okay. After that, so we've had the rating. We have a number of invoices. The average price, the stock views. Okay, so average price. So for price, we'll go to the sales table. So we go to sales amount. Then here, instead of sum, we right click and select average. Then we add the average views. We have the views to this table, not average, views to this table. We add what again? The stock and the rest. So for the stock, we have it in the product table. So we go to the product table. It's already here. Okay, so we've added that. So we go to revenue. Revenue is selected. We go to cost. We go to profit. Okay, so I think everything is added now. Let's start formatting. So for the image size, we reduce it to, let's say, 25. And then this is going to be 100. Okay, so let's see how it goes by changing the names of our columns. So renaming the columns. So this is going to be ID. We have product here. We have image will come before product, and also image will be changed to product, and then product will be blank. Product will be blank. This will be stock. For the rating, we put it on top here. So how did we rate the product? Here will be price or average price. This will be number of invoices. So we have views, revenue, cost, and profit. Okay. Another formatting is to take out the total. I go to values. The alternate background will be white. For grid, I'll take out the horizontal grid lines. I'll go to border. I'll change the color of the border to maybe something like this. Okay, so now I need to add the rating. So we have average rating. I'll add a rating. So I'll create a measure for that. Now, let's go here and create a new measure. So this will be scoring. And this is what I want to do. I want to use the star. So let's do a repetition of the stars. So repeat, we use the repeat function and say I'll press window and the dot key to bring this. Let's see if we can get some stars here. Sorry, Windows dot it should be, let's see here. We have some star here. So please, I usually get this. Yes, okay, so we have some star here, which I've used before. Okay, but I'm not going to use this. I want to use two different stars. One that is full and one that is kind of empty. Okay, so let me bring in that one. I think I have it from the previous one. So let me see if I can get it. So I'll comment this. I'll just paste it here and comment it. So I need this one to be repeated 10 times. Sorry. So when I press enter and I add it to the table, you should see it repeated. So scoring, I'll select it to add it. So you see it repeated 10 times. Okay, so the rating is from 1 to 10. So what I want to do is to calculate the average. So the average here is 5, 6. So let's first get the average. So what I want to do is to create a variable So the average value is going to be the average value that we created earlier. So average rating. So we have the average rating, and instead of using 10 here, I'm rather going to use the average rating. And then I'll go here and just do a return. Once I do this, you can see it repeated on the number of average. So 5, 6, you can see 6 here. So rounded up. So I think we are good. Let me go to the average scoring, average rating, and then no decimal. So, so you can see it 6 times. So now what I have done is I added the blank one for the remaining. So if you go to the let's go to scoring that we created, so you can see the empty one. So that has been used for the remainder. So here, what I'll do is I'll now say var what is remaining. So that will be, this should come down rather, so we can use, so rem, so we'll do 10 minus the average. So we'll do 10 minus the average. And what I want to do now is to append the empty one to this. So I will now say and repeat the empty one by this number. So let's look at it. You see, it has added the empty ones here. Okay, so you can see. Now you can decide to leave it the way we did it before, just by using the star from using the Windows and the dot key, or you can use this as well, the full one and the empty one. Okay, so I think we are good with this. The scoring, I want to change it to blue. So let me go to specific column, select scoring, and change the text color to this color. Okay, now the scoring, this scoring will be by the average rating scoring. So here, you can just remove this. So now we have this here. The stock is here, number of invoice. We have the price as well. We have number of views. Now let's go to Kerry Kolosko website again. Credit to her, so that we can add the spark line and the other one. So here you can see that we added 3 different ones. I also used some lollipops here. So let's do that. We've already added that of revenue earlier on the first page. So let's go and grab that. So revenue spark line is here. So revenue spark line will go beside revenue, and we can take it out, the label out. So that is beside revenue. So we are going to do that of cost. So let's go to cost. And then for cost, let's go back here. I use this. Yeah, the spark line here. So let's copy. Once we copy, we go here. Then we can say that we are adding a new measure, just like we did before. Just like we did before. So what I'm going to do here is going to be for cost, spark line. And then here, Control Shift L for love, calendar, and then I'll use month number. Okay, so we want to get it by month. And here, Control Shift L for love, we change it to cost instead of revenue. And then here, this is going to be calendar. What else? This is not needed. You can change it to product ID, but it's not needed here. So I press enter, and let's go and see what we get. So for cost, it's going to be added here. Before that, let's add it here. And before that, let's go to data category and to categorize it to be image URL. Okay, so we have that for cost now. I can drag it and make it be beside cost. Sorry, go back. Cost spark line should be here. And then for that, I can remove it, put a space there. So we have the cost spark line. For the last one, which is the profit, we use lollipop. Okay, if you don't want to use any of this, I've shown it in the previous page that you can use the spark line directly from Power BI. Okay, so let's go and get our lollipop from Kerry Colosco again. So where do we have our lollipop? Lollipop. Okay, so we get our lollipop here. So we can grab it from here. It's already copied. We go here, we create a new measure. So I'll click new measure. I'll paste this here. We have a couple of things to change. So just like I did before, Control Shift L for love or life. So calendar, I want it to be monthly, so I'll use the month number. So month number for some gross sales, Control Shift L again for love, and change this one to profit. Okay, and this here, Control Shift L, financials will be changed to calendar. Okay, so what else have we left out? Okay, so we are good now. Good. If you also want to work with the color, you can change it here. And she has also done well by adding some comment. Okay, so I press enter. Sorry, lollipop here should be changed to profit lollipop. So let's go here and change this to profit lollipop. Then I press enter to commit it. So now we can go to profit lollipop and add it to the table. But because we've not categorized it yet, it's going to show us this long code again. So we go and categorize it to be image URL. So now we are going to have our lollipop. Interesting. So we have our lollipop here. Very nice. So let me go to image size. Let's maybe increase the width to 120. Okay, so once that is done, we can reduce this. Okay, so we have our lollipop here. Now we only have 15 products. We only have 15 products, so just a minute. We only have 15 products, so what I want to do is to go to this grid, go to options, and then increase the row padding so that you can take the whole page. Okay, so I'll make it 6 rather. That's good. Let's go and bring in our filter and caption here. So go here. I think we don't need a caption. I'll leave it there because I want to put the search bar here. So I'll take this out. So we have this here. Now let's go and add the navigation button. So I'll go to insert. I'll go to buttons, I'll go to navigator, then I'll go to page navigator. You see, so we have our page navigator on top here. So it has the overview selected by default and the product details. When I control and then click product details, it takes us to product details, and we need the same button here. So I'll just go and copy it and paste it here. So let me go and copy. Then I'll come and paste it here. Very good. So now let's add our search. So let's go here and go to get more visuals. Get more visual, you can see the text filter here. So just select it and click add. So we are waiting for it to load. Okay, so we click add. It is free. So we click add. Then we make sure it is added to our background. So I'll select this and then I'll link it to the product name. Okay, so I don't need the title. I don't need the border to show. So I can now reduce the size. Then I'll put it on top here. Okay, so this is it. So if I want to look for laptop, I type and press enter. So I have it, then I can clear it. So this is nice. Is there anything that we've left out? Let's go back and check this. So we can see some data bars here. Let's quickly add the data bars. So I'll select the visual again. That's the table. Once it is selected, I'll go to, I think this was done for revenue, cost, and profit. I'll go to revenue. I'll go to data bars. In data bars, I'll just go to more color. Sorry, let me select that color. More colors. So I'll go and select something like this and click OK. That's for revenue. I'll do the same thing for cost. I'll do the same thing for profit. For this, I don't need a caption. So I'll do the same thing for profit. So select profit, conditional formatting, data bars. I'll go here, something like this. Maybe the green, depends on how you see it. Something like this. Then we click OK. Yeah, so this is what I plan to share with you today. Let's see, have we forgotten anything? Yeah, nothing is forgotten. That's okay. So let's look at our first page. Yeah, we have everything here. So I can navigate. If I press Control, product details, it takes me to this. And then if I press this, it takes me back. So this, you can now hide the product details because you already have a navigation button. So this is what I plan to share with you today. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share. There is more to come. And if you have any suggestion, let me know. If you have anything that you think I should have done to improve this, let me know. And let's catch up again next time. Thank you. Bye.